Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. In today's video, I'm super excited to share with all of you my roundup of products that I tried during the month of February. So if you're interested in seeing my updated impressions and a full face of these February products, then just stick around. So at the moment, I don't have any makeup on my face, so let's start out with base products. And I tried out several new base products this month. So we have here the Dior Forever Skin Glow, the Merit Beauty Foundation and Concealer Stick, and then also this NARS Light Reflecting Foundation. And I would say this was the product that most impressed me over the course of the month. So for today's video, I wanted to do a side-by-side comparison between this foundation and my current all-time favorite foundation, which is the Lisa Eldridge Seamless Skin Foundation. So I'm going to start by putting this NARS foundation on the left side of my face. In the side-by-side comparison that I did between this and the Dior foundation, I put it on the right side of my face. So just want to try it out on both sides. And to blend it in, I'm going to use this foundation brush from Merit. I forgot to include this in my video about Merit Beauty, so this is actually my first time trying out this brush. It is a synthetic hair brush, so let's see how well this works. In terms of shape, it reminds me a lot of the Rephr number 30 brush. So I like how the size of this brush makes it really easy to just quickly blend in the entire face. That was very, very quick and easy. Let's put a little bit over the eyes as well. Alrighty, there we go. So here is the NARS on this side of my face, and this side is totally bare. What impressed me about the NARS foundation is even though it doesn't have full coverage with just one layer, I feel like it does a really good job of smoothing out texture and making everything look a lot more seamless, even if it's not that high coverage. I would put this right now at sort of a medium coverage. So similar to my previous wear test, I'm not going to put on any concealer today. And so I'm just going to add another layer of foundation on the parts of my face where I would normally go in with a bit more coverage. And just stamp this in. But so far so good with this brush. Normally I'm much more of a fan of natural hair brushes, but for liquid products like foundation, I think it is nice sometimes using a synthetic brush. Alrighty, so here we are with 2 layers of NARS Fiji, and again, nothing on this side. So now let's go in with my Lisa Eldridge Seamless Skin Foundation. I have this in the shade 15, and this is such a beautiful bottle. Obviously, we're not comparing bottles today because I only have a sample of the NARS, but I am excited for any excuse to use this foundation. So I'm just going to start with 1 pump of this. This is a much thicker consistency. So whereas the NARS is quite liquidy, this is a little bit more of a cream consistency. And I'm actually going to blend this in with a finger because I find that because this foundation is a little bit on the thicker side, it is super easy to blend in just with a finger. And this foundation is a little bit deep for my skin tone at the moment, whereas the NARS I think is a better shade match for my winter skin. So you might see that the side of my face will look a little bit deeper, but that's okay. So there we go. You can see that that was just very, very easy to blend in. Let me just go in with 1 additional pump. And with this Lisa Eldridge foundation, each pump is more like a half pump in terms of volume. So she makes it really easy for you to apply a small amount of product. And these foundations are quite different in terms of their claims and formulations. So the Lisa Eldridge one is supposed to be self-setting. It's a little bit more of a natural, almost soft matte finish, whereas the NARS one is supposed to be a little bit more of a dewy finish. So I'm not expecting these to look the same on the skin. But because I do really love the Lisa Eldridge one, I just want to see how the NARS compares. So here we have 2 layers of the Lisa Eldridge on this side and 2 layers of the NARS on this side. Again, there's no concealer or powder for today. We're just going to see how these foundations perform on their own. So upon initial application, I think both of these are looking really good. So I think they definitely blurred out any texture on my skin while still looking pretty natural. In terms of slight differences, the NARS side is definitely a little bit more glowy and dewy in comparison to the Lisa Eldridge side. I would say the Lisa Eldridge side, because it's a little bit less glowy, maybe conceals texture just a little bit more. That said, the NARS side actually looks a little bit more skin-like upon initial application, but they both look really great, so it's going to be a little bit tricky to say at the end of the day which one of these two wins out. So now I normally save lips for the end, but because my lips are feeling pretty dry right now, I'm going to go ahead and go into the Danessa Myricks Dewy Lip and Cheek palette. So I have this in the color story Do It Undercover, which is the more nude brown based color story. And I've been really enjoying going into this shade over here, which is called Top Secret, and using this as a lip color. So this is especially a color that I think matches really well with the dress that I have on today. It's really great for a more vampy kind of gothic look. Ideally, you would apply this with a lip brush, but for today I'm just going in with my finger because most days I can't be bothered to go in with a lip brush. So this is what a couple layers of that product on the lips looks like. So it almost gives you that sort of blotted out look because it is a bit sheer, so you do have to build up the pigmentation if you want a more pigmented look. I find that if you want something that's more precise, it's better to go in first with a lip liner, since it can be a little bit tricky with this formula to get really precise edges. So if you guys haven't watched my dedicated video to this palette, definitely check that out if you want to see all of the shades on my cheeks and on my lips, and also my impressions of each of the shades. Later on in today's look, I will put this on my cheeks as well so you can see that. But to first just talk about this as a lip palette, I would say that I really enjoy using these three shades over here on the lips, and especially Top Secret is really beautiful on the lips. It has a really nice dose of pigmentation, and also it's very comfortable on the lips. With this palette, the further you go this way, the more creamy and opaque the formulation is. And so I find that Hush Hush is not the best on the lips. It's not really creamy enough, so it's not the most comfortable formula on the lips. But by the time you get to this product over here, it's really a very perfect lip color. With the caveat though that applying this with a finger can get a little bit messy. So now for the brows. So I've been pretty loyal to my M Cosmetics brow cream for a while, but I think I might have found a new favorite brow gel. So this is the Merit Beauty 1980 Brow Gel, and this one is in the shade Brown. And I have really been loving this product all month. Basically, when I first tried it, I wasn't really sure if I would like it as much as some of my other brow products because it looks very natural when you first apply it. But this has basically been my daily brow product ever since I tried this. I find that it's so easy to use. You don't have to be really careful about how you apply it. You don't have to worry about getting it on your skin. And the effect that it leaves is just really nice and natural. So you never get any sort of clumpiness. And even though this formula doesn't have any fibers in it, I think it does a pretty good job of volumizing and filling in the brow area. Of course, if you want something that is more like an Instagram brow, you do need to go in with a brow pencil as well. But in terms of a one and done brow look, I've been really loving this guy. So with the brows down, let's start contouring my face. So also from Merit Beauty, I picked up these two minimalist sticks, which are their foundation concealer hybrid formula. And I picked this up in the shade Sand and also in the shade Amber. So Sand is basically just my skin tone, and I've been really loving this on no makeup days. It's a lot quicker and easier to slap on than a foundation or a skin tint because you can just really quickly blend it into the skin. This sort of stick formulation I find makes it really easy to just target certain areas and then use your finger to blend out. And then I also picked up the shade Amber to use more as a bronzy contoury shade. I do wish that I had picked out a deeper and more red undertone shade. I think that would have been a little bit more flattering, but I do love how this formula blends into the skin super seamlessly. And so in my Merit Beauty video, I tried these two products together, and obviously they worked perfectly together. But today I wanted to use this with these other foundations and just see how it goes. So with this very caramel shade, I think it looks best on the forehead area and as sort of like a bronzy, blushy shade on the cheeks rather than as a contour. So I'm gonna mostly just use this on the forehead today and use a different shade for my contour. And as you can see, it's very easy to just blend this in. It's a very creamy product and it just adds a hint of additional dimension. Let me just add a little bit more so you guys can see. And so far, I think it's going really well with these two different foundation formulas. So I'm glad to see that. And I do like bronzing up my hairline area because this is where your face naturally gets more sun. And so if it looks the same shade as the rest of your face, it doesn't really look the most natural. So there we go, slightly more bronzy forehead. So now for contour, let's go into this mini Charlotte Tilbury Filmstar Bronze and Glow. So I was really excited to try out this product because this has been such a cult favorite for so long, and so I finally decided to pick this up in a mini version. And overall, I've been really enjoying this product. So for today, I'm going to apply this with probably the product I've been most excited about this month, which is this Niji Pro brush from Sonia G. This has basically revolutionized my bronzer application game. If you guys have been watching me for a while, you know that I often struggle with blending out my bronzer. I have a decent amount of texture on my cheeks, and so there's a lot of places for bronzer to get stuck and to look patchy. But so far, ever since I've been using this brush, it's been really helpful for getting a nice even blend for both my bronzer and also any powder blushes. So I've been a huge fan of this guy so far. So let me just dip into this little mini contour shade. And so this contour is very light on my skin. I would say that if you have a skin tone that is any deeper than mine, I would not recommend going in with this. I really hope at some point she comes out with minis of the deeper version of the Filmstar Bronze and Glow, because she does have a deeper shade of this, but it's only available in the full size version. So as you guys can see, this is a really nice kind of cool toned contour on my skin. You can see over here where I have the Lisa Eldridge, which is a little bit of a deeper foundation shade. You don't see as much of the contour, whereas on this side with the NARS, I think it's a really nice looking sort of natural contour. And so for me, I think this is not going to work well for me once summer comes, but at the moment when my skin tone is a little bit more like this side, it's a really beautiful, very natural looking contour. If you swatch this, it basically looks like nothing. So if you guys saw my video where I first tried this out, I was a little bit worried because when you swatch it, it looks like almost a highlighter because there's some slight shimmer in it. So let me actually give you guys a quick swatch right now. So as you can see on my finger, this does not look like a contour shade at all. It almost looks more like a powder or a slightly glowy kind of gray toned formula. So this is not going to look good if you just swatch it in store. But as you can hopefully see from today's demo, when you actually apply it, it does add that sort of natural looking shadow. And so I'm excited to have this product in my collection now because I don't have that many really gray toned contour shades. And so I think this is really great for days where you're not actually trying to bronze up your face, but you just want some natural looking shadows to further contour out your face. So there we go. We have the contour done on both sides. And as you can see, it was super, super easy to do it with this brush. It's just so excellent at blending everything out. So for blush, I have two products. So again, the Danessa Myricks palette. And then I also have this cream blush from Merit Beauty. So since this guy is a lot less pigmented, let's go ahead and start with this. So this Merit Beauty blush, which I have here in the shade Terracotta, is really excellent if you're someone who wants a very, very minimalist look with just a hint of color. So I do like this on an everyday basis where I'm not putting much makeup on and just want a tiny tint on my skin. That said, this is not the product for you if you want something that is a little bit more pigmented, that has a lot of staying power, or if you want something that is not super dewy. So I'm just gonna apply this to my cheeks directly. And as you can see, even if I put sort of a few swipes on, there's not a ton of pigmentation from this. And for this, I usually just sweep it with a finger to blend it in. And I think you can see that it blends in very easily, but the pigmentation largely doesn't really stick very much. So this is not the best product for, you know, a day like today when I am doing more of a full glam look. You're not going to see a whole lot other than that slightly dewy finish once you blend it in. And when you sweep it in like I did today, there is a little bit of foundation pickup. And so this is not a product I would really use typically on days if I'm wearing any foundation underneath. It's more so a product I would use on days when I don't have any base product on and just want a hint of flush. So now moving to the Danessa Myricks palette. So I have pretty much only been using this with finger application, but today I wanted to try this out with my Zoeva 110 brush just to see how it's like to apply this with a brush. So this formula is a little bit unique in that it is quite sticky, which is not my favorite texture for blushes. So I like this generally a lot more on the lips than on the cheeks. So let's see how this goes with a brush. So far so good. I think this is actually laying down pretty well with a brush. Ooh, okay, this is actually nice. Maybe brush application is actually the way to go if you're putting this on your cheeks. So I just realized that my camera stopped recording as I was blabbing on about this blush. So sorry for the discontinuity, but here is the blush applied to my cheeks. And long story short, I was kind of down about this product as a blush and was honestly not super sure if I wanted to keep this product. But after today's application of Wallflower with a brush, I actually really like how this looks. So I'm impressed. This has probably changed my opinion because basically up until now, I've been using this product a lot over the past few weeks. And what I would do is I would go in with a finger with one of these two shades, mostly Hush Hush on the cheeks. And I didn't really like how the rest of these looked as blush. And then when it came to lipstick, I mostly have been going in with Top Secret. And so it kind of felt like a lot of this palette was not really that helpful because, you know, I was really only using these two shades. But I really like how easily Wallflower applied with a brush. So what I would say now is, if you pick up this product, definitely try out some of the deeper shades with a brush application instead of a finger application. Basically, these two are fine with finger application on the cheeks. They don't look patchy. But if you go in with a finger and these two, they can look a little bit patchy on the cheeks. This guy here still does not look good on the cheeks for me. If you have like a really cool undertone skin or really deep skin, then it might be okay. For me, this guy still looks like a bruise on my face, so I am not a fan of how this applies to the cheeks, but I do really love this as a lip color. So overall, today's video might have been a major redeeming moment for this palette because now that I know that it actually applies really easily with a brush, despite the stickiness in its texture, that really opens up a lot of possibility in terms of using this palette more. So very happy with how things are going so far. So normally now I would go in with highlight, but because this product is kind of dewy and sticky, I'm gonna let it settle down into my skin a little bit more before we do powder highlight. So instead, I'm gonna go in now with some eyeshadow. And this is not by any means a new eyeshadow palette, but recently I have been really enjoying going in with my Natasha Denona Retro palette. And I think today, especially since we kind of have these sort of gothic vampire summer vibes, I think this will be the perfect color story to complement it. So let me zoom you guys in for this eyeshadow portion. So today I wanted to switch up my eyeshadow technique a little bit because I was watching one of Alicia Archer, aka Kinky Sweats videos, and she was talking about how Natasha Denona shadows actually work better if you start with the deepest shade and then go lighter. And that's the complete opposite of what I usually do for eyeshadow, so let's try that out. So I have here my worker brush from the Sonia G Lotus set, and I'm going to go into O Part, which is the deepest shade in this palette. And I'm just going to sweep this on the outer portions of my lids. So basically what Alicia was saying is that you can start with the deepest, kind of pack it on, then blend it out with some of the lighter shades. Typically, I start with the lightest shade and then just kind of deepen it up. So we'll see how this goes. It's always a little bit of a gamble when you use a new makeup technique. And then actually, I'm going to also put some of this in the inner corner because I sort of want to do a halo eye today. Alrighty, so here we go with some of that initial shadow down. And I'm going to blend out the edges slightly. Bring all of this kind of into the crease area. So now with that same brush, I'm going to take some of Groove and sort of just layer it on top of that. Go all the way around. Kind of add some plumminess to this look. We're just playing around with shadow today, so hopefully this look turns out well. And I do want to add some red to the party, so I'm going to go now into Rebellion. So these two shades look basically the same in pan, but they actually have very different undertones. Rebellion has much more of a burgundy reddishness to it, whereas Groove has much more of a plumminess. So you can see now we're adding in that burgundy red. And I'm definitely kind of just making everything blend together, so I don't think this is necessarily what you're supposed to do technique-wise, but it's okay. It's my first time trying out this kind of application style, so I'll have to for sure refine it to see if I can make it work for my needs. Okay, there we go. So yeah, not sure how I feel about this reverse application technique, but it kind of works. So now for the center of the lids, I'm going to go in with Helio, and this is basically one of my favorite shimmers from Natasha Denona. It's just very easy to use and very versatile for a wide variety of looks. It's kind of a taupey rosy shade, so I find it works well if you want to go more neutral or if you want to go more pinky. So there we go. You can see that has a really pretty shimmer and slight dimension to it. And then to further enhance the shine, I'm going in with Psychedelic. And I'm just going to drop that on the very center of the lids to give some further dimension. This is sort of a fun topper shade. And then to clean everything up, I have my Wayne Goss number 19. And I'm actually going to go back into O Part and kind of add that depth back into the inner portion and sort of use this to just zhuzh around the edges and make sure everything blends in. Same thing on the other side. And now with my mini booster from Sonia G, I'm going into this highlight from the Filmstar Bronze and Glow and using this to just highlight my brow bone area, which will also just help everything sort of blend in that area. And then I'm also going to apply this to the inner corners. Add a little bit of light there. And now for the lower lash line, I have my soft definer from Sonia G. And I'm going to start out by going in with some of Rebellion and just sweep this all along the lower lash line. And this is in one of Natasha Denona's cream to powder formulas. And so it does look a lot lighter on the skin than it looks in pan. And now I'm going in with O Part just on the outer portion. Actually, I'm going to bring it all along the lash line just to add some more dimension. And then since both of those were creamy formulas, I'm going to go into Groove as well just to help set everything. Groove is more of a typical powder matte. And now with my builder brush, I'm going into Helio. And so instead of mimicking the top, I'm concentrating this just on the center of the lower lash line. And then taking a little bit of Psychedelic on my soft definer, I'm going to just drop this on the inner corners just to add a little bit more light there. So here we have the very smoky, vampy eyeshadow look. So I'm going to go off camera now and apply some eyeliner. So here we have the final eye look with eyeliner, and recently I've been really loving going in with the Hindash Heroline, so that's what I have on today. So I really like how this has a pretty small, thin brush, so I feel like it's really great for doing that very defined cat eye. It's also a pretty opaque formula, so you can see that there isn't really any hint of glitter coming through the eyeliner. And so this has quickly risen to be one of my favorite eyeliners. So now for the final step of this look, let's go in with this highlighter on the cheeks. And I have here the Rephr number 15 brush. This is a new brush that I picked up this month. So I haven't actually gotten to make much use of this. I think this is my first time using it on camera. But I did want to share this with you guys because the little use I've gotten so far from this has been very positive. This is my first time getting a fan brush, and so I wasn't really sure if I would like this for highlight application, but I really enjoy how it's really light and airy. I feel like it applies a really nice light application of highlighter. And I feel like when you see these fan brushes, they look kind of stiff, but they're actually really soft and fluffy. And so far I have been a fan of this fan brush. So here we have the final look, definitely giving me some gothic Lolita vampire vibes. So overall, I am quite digging this look. I feel like the colors of the retro palette, plus that Top Secret lip color and the Wallflower blush, all really work very well together in today's look. And I think also the cool tone of the Charlotte Tilbury Filmstar Bronze and Glow really works well to not make this too bronzy and summery. This kind of look is definitely supposed to be a little bit more gothic and cool toned. So with the look done, let's talk about a few other products that I've been enjoying this month. So first off, we have the Wayne Goss Essential Lip Pencil in the shade Vintage Pink. And as you can tell, it's a pretty light shade. It's a lot lighter than my natural lip color. So I wasn't really sure if I would get much, if any, use out of this, but I've actually been really enjoying this lip pencil on days when I'm doing a really colorful eyeshadow look. Especially, I found this to be quite handy when I'm doing a blue look. So whenever I have blue eyeshadow on, it's always kind of an open question to me what I should do with my lip color. And what I've been really enjoying is going in with this and just putting it all over my lips to kind of blot out that lip color. And then going in with a pretty sheer lip gloss. And I find the overall effect kind of cancels out some of my lip color, but still preserves a little bit of pinkiness that is quite flattering with the blue shadow. So I'll show you a picture of a look I did with this pencil to just give you an idea of what I'm talking about. But I've actually been enjoying this a lot more than I thought I would, given that typically I do enjoy going in with a deeper color for a lip liner and then maybe filling it in with something lighter. So I'm really glad that I got this in my lucky bag. Outside of makeup, there were a couple skincare and hair care products that I've been really loving this month. So first off, we have the Chantecaille Flower Harmonizing Cream. So this is quite a pricey face cream, a lot pricier than I typically go with, but this product has really been saving my skin during these dry winter months. And so ever since winter has been in full swing, I found myself just layering on so many layers of hydration to keep my skin from feeling super, super dry. When I started using this cream though, I found that I could basically just put on this cream and I didn't need anything else to keep my face hydrated. And so I've been really, really loving this. It's such a nice, luxurious experience. The bottle itself is very weighty and really beautiful. The smell is floral, but still pretty light. So I'm usually pretty sensitive to fragrances, but I find that this fragrance is really quite beautiful. It's sort of like a mix between rose and jasmine, and so it gives you that really nice, luxurious spa-like experience. The cream itself looks like it would be quite lightweight, and indeed, when I first tried this out, I figured it probably would not be thick enough to use by itself. As you can see there, it's not that emollient. It looks much more like a water-based cream, and it, as a result, is very, very quick and easy to blend into the skin, and yet it's just so hydrating and protecting on the skin. So if you're someone who doesn't like really thick feeling moisturizers, but your skin has been feeling super dry in the winter months, then I would definitely recommend trying out this product. And even though it is quite expensive, I find when I use this product, I don't necessarily need to go in with any serum or oil to further supplement my skincare. And so from that perspective, it can replace a lot of items in your skincare routine. On the hair care side, I've been really enjoying this hair oil from, I guess it's pronounced Ouai, I'm not sure. You guys tell me if you know how to properly pronounce the name of this brand. This is also a product with a really beautiful fragrance. Again, very floral, gives me slight gardenia vibes. And I've been really loving this oil on the ends of my hair and also any place where my hair is getting frizzy. As you guys can see, I have pretty long hair, and so the ends have been getting pretty brittle, especially in these winter months. I've been getting a lot of split ends, and so this hair oil has been really helpful in terms of just calming down the frizziness and making my hair just feel much more fortified. And so I am usually someone who does not do anything really with my hair. I basically just wash it with shampoo and conditioner and then towel dry it, and that's it. So for me, this has definitely elevated my hair care game, and it's just such a nice experience as well. This oil doesn't feel oily at all. It really feels like it just kind of absorbs into your hair. And even though I have quite a sensitive scalp, I've found that putting this sort of along this area of my hair doesn't actually irritate my skin at all. So if you're new to hair oil or if you're looking to try out a new one, I would highly recommend checking out this product. And then finally, a lot of you have been asking me about these little towel scrunchies that I got in my lucky bag. So I thought I would give you guys a quick update. So I've actually really been enjoying these guys. So as I just said, I am someone who typically just washes my hair, gets out of the shower, towel dries it, and goes. But I find that especially given how long my hair is, there always is a decent amount of drippage right after a shower. And for me, this is where this product really comes in handy. So basically, I just put this into my hair after I've towel dried it, and it just soaks up any residual moisture. And so it doesn't leave my hair dry by any means, but it makes sure that it's not dripping. So even if I just put this into my hair for like 10 minutes, I find that it just makes a big difference in terms of the drying time. Now you do have to be a little bit careful in terms of how you apply this to your hair, especially if you have pretty long hair, because it can drag down your hair a little bit if you're not careful. So this might be a little bit tricky, but I'm going to attempt to show you guys how I put this in my hair. So basically, I first pretend that I'm going in with a ponytail and I start bringing my hair through, but instead of pulling it all the way through, I take the ends and this loop over here, and then I twist the scrunchie and then I pull it around that. And so it creates this sort of pseudo bun. But what ends up happening is the scrunchie is in contact with a lot of points of your hair. And so I find that just makes it really easy for the scrunchie to sort of wring out any residual moisture you have. And especially for me, the ends of my hair tend to be where a lot of water collects. And so this way it sort of really prevents all of that water from getting down to your ends and really soaks it up before it gets there. So yes, not the most beautiful bun by any stretch, but I find this works pretty well for me. And the best part of doing it this way without pulling your hair actually through the scrunchie is it's really easy to remove, because basically when you want to remove it, you just take this part off and it's super easy for the scrunchie to come off. And that for me is really important because when your hair is wet, it's really weak. And so you don't want anything that will pull on your hair. So if you had instead, for example, pulled your hair all the way through and done it like this, then when you're taking your hair out, it's a little bit harder, like there's more tension on your hair to drag this out. And so I would recommend doing it in a way where you don't actually loop this around your hair too much. So here we are 2 to 3 hours later for our wear test. And also I forgot earlier to put on lashes. So here we have some Lashify Gossamers. And if you guys are curious about Lashify, definitely check out my forthcoming videos. I've filmed 2 videos about Lashify, so basically my first and my second time using it. This is my 3rd time and my first time doing it off camera. So what do you guys think about this look with some lashes? I have 3 of their 12C Gossamers and then 1 of their 14C Gossamers on my eyes today. And overall, I've been pretty pleased with these first 3 experiences I've had with Lashify. So it's definitely more work than putting on falsies, but I do feel like they're overall more comfortable because there's no glue touching your skin. In case you're unfamiliar with Lashify, they're basically these individual, very lightweight gossamer lashes that you glue to the underside of your lashes instead of gluing them to your eyelid. As a result, they're much more lightweight and comfortable, and they're supposed to last for several days. So I personally have been taking them off the same day I wear them. I basically put them on, wear them around for a while, and then use their release solution to take them off. And so I've been wearing them kind of like souped up falsies. But so far, I've been enjoying experimenting with them, and so if you're curious about Lashify, definitely subscribe down below to be notified when my videos about this product come out. And also let me know in the comments if you're interested in Lashify, and I'll try to prioritize getting that content out faster. In any case, let's talk briefly about the foundation. So both of these are looking really great 2 to 3 hours in. I have not powdered them, not touched them up. There's no concealer. So all you see in terms of base product is just the foundations themselves. In terms of smoothing texture on my skin, I would say that the Lisa Eldridge side does look ever so slightly smoother. This might be in part because it's a more matte formula. So I feel like I can't really see a whole lot of texture on this side of my face. There is a little bit more texture I'm seeing on the NARS side, specifically right around here. This area around my mouth does have a little bit of texture, and I think the glowiness of the NARS foundation is highlighting that ever so slightly. In terms of overall appearance of the product, I will say kind of similar to my initial impressions, this NARS side does look a little bit more lightweight, I would say, than the Lisa Eldridge side. The NARS just looks slightly more natural, but of course with that cost of what I just mentioned in terms of the Lisa Eldridge side being a bit more seamless and perfected. Overall though, I'm really liking both of these sides, and I can't really say that I am a fan of one more than the other, which is pretty promising considering I've worn the Lisa Eldridge many times now, and it is my overall favorite foundation currently. So the NARS is performing pretty impressively as a newcomer. So I probably won't have time to do another wear test tonight, and so I'll leave a pinned comment down below in terms of my overall thoughts of how these 2 foundations wore. As it stands right now though, I would say they're overall different styles of foundations. So the NARS is maybe something I would go with more for an everyday basis, whereas the Lisa Eldridge is more so what I would go for on an event day where I really want things to look very perfected. But that's it for today's video. If you guys like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you all so much for joining me today, and I'll catch you next time. Bye!